Everyone again, and today we're going to start the halachot of shoel shelo midat. Shoel shelo midat is someone that's borrowing an item without asking for it. So they're not stealing it, they're not taking it without permission, they're just borrowing it without permission. And so that is asur, that you're not allowed to do that. However, when it's something very minimal or an item that we all can be very sure that the owner of the item is not makpid, they don't really care, then you're allowed to go ahead and use that item. For example, a pen. You're in a place and you need a pen quickly, and you know this pen belongs to someone, they're not around to ask them. It takes a minute, a second, you need to write something, sign a check. You're allowed to use the pen. Because we all assume, and halakha assumes, that you're not makpid, you're not particular, you don't care, you're not concerned if somebody uses your pen for a moment. However, if it's something that is significant, like
borrow the car.
Your car. Hey, they have a car sitting in the driveway. The key happens to be right over here. You're not allowed to use it, even though you're saying, "What do they care? They're at work. That's okay." And I'm a good driver. Look at my, my insurance history. Not allowed to use that because people are very particular about that. People don't want to give away their car just like that, even for 5 minutes, 1 minute, 1 second. You're not allowed to do that. There's an exception though. What about if it's tashmish mitzvah, something that we normally that's a chefta shel mitzvah? For example, talit, tefillin, I don't know, any other mitzvah item that you may think about, maybe a sefer, a book to learn Torah from. Over there, what is not allowed. So shoel shelo midat latzorich mitzvah eno nikra gazlan. A person that does such a thing without asking permission is not called a gazlan. Is not called as if they're stealing. Why? Because there's a concept in the Torah that noach le'adam, naich le'inish, a person is comfortable and is interested that other people will do mitzvot with their belongings. I want people to use my tefillin. I want people to use my siddur because then they do a mitzvah with it. I'm happy. And so the general idea is there's a difference between talit and tefillin. Tefillin, because the Torah doesn't say lachem ve'lachem letzitzit, right? So you're allowed to borrow somebody else's tefillin as long as when you take it, you use it, you roll it back the same way it was, you put it back in the same place that it was, and you don't have to change the size of the head and the knot behind the head. What happens if you take someone's tefillin and the next morning they come use the tefillin too small, it's too big, it's annoying, they miss the tefillah because of it, they get upset. And so, if it's not such a thing. Another exception where you're not allowed to use someone's tefillin, if it's in a very special place in the synagogue, they have their own place, they not hide it, but they set it aside that people don't take it, then you know that they care. So meaning, if I know that people care, even if it's for a mitzvah, don't use it. But generally, if I don't have a sign that someone is so particular about it, then I can assume that we all share the same denominational thought, that we all want people to do a mitzvah with our tefillin, or siddur, or whatever it is, then you're allowed to use it. And the same thing applies for a sukkah. Your neighbor's sukkah, they're not around for you to ask them if you can sit in their sukkah or not. You're allowed to sit in the sukkah, but what happens if you enter in the sukkah and you see all this special decorations and cushions from Morocco and all the things like that? They don't want people to move it around and to sit on it for nothing. Gets a little stain here and there. They're going to be very upset. And over there, you're not allowed to use it. Baruch Adonai L'olam. Amen.